Poetic Justice, and so I accidentally, I didn't really accidentally forget. I really didn't want to make a video yesterday, or the day before that, but I got a little further in my progress, and I've completely finished every single room in the house that I'm going to have. But another thing I did is I started a new profession, and I decided I was going to give up smithing, and I was doing blast furnace. I have a blast furnace, actually. And I'm probably going to get rid of it. But another thing I have is an anvil, and this carpentry table I'm not going to be using. I won't be using anymore either. So I'm going to get rid of it. And the blast furnace, I can't use it anymore. But one thing I won't be using for more often is the iron pickaxe. And the reason why is because the iron pickaxe is allowing me to be more efficient whenever I mine. But also, I've picked up another skill, 2 skills actually, in place of what I was originally going to do. And the reason why is because every single person on the server that actually doesn't suck at this game went for the same profession that I went for. And nobody has made any roads to my house or anywhere else as of yet, except for 2 areas. So everybody's complaining because when you open the maps, the game lags or something stupid like that. And the truth is that's not really the case. The server apparently lags whenever too many people have their maps open. So somebody says. But the map doesn't have to be server-sided. Apparently the game developers are really stupid and decided to make it server-sided. I don't really know if that's true. Seems to be a rumor. Apparently people are pushing for others not to be able to use maps. That's really what the that's really what that is. And because I actually, whenever they thought nobody was using maps anymore, I was still using a map. And the server didn't lag whenever I used it. It only lagged whenever apparently other people used it. So that might be computer-based actually, because sometimes when somebody does something, a certain group of people get kicked from the server. So on that subject, I also have a contract board, which I'll go over in a second, that I added, and I now have 3 Wainwright tables, which I'll be using to construct roads. And I now do roads, and I also mine, and I still do, I still make very good stone, whatever the heck they're called, mortared stone. And I can still make very good mortared stone. I can still do everything I did before. The only thing is, I accidentally made the mistake of deciding I would get rid of my campfire cooking. But actually, I shouldn't have even... the campfire cooking isn't really what I should have focused on. What I should have focused on is farming. And we have a new neighbor too. I'll go over them in a second, because there's a little funny story with these people. And I hope they come back, because they look like they were doing some good stuff here. Anyhow, so I have a more mined out anyway from over here. So I've been mining out this rock, and I accidentally mined a little too deep. And underneath here, I actually put my tailing storage. And these are going to go out eventually, but they've actually been on pretty much the whole time since a little bit after the last time I recorded. Then I started this mine. I put coal in them and they're still going. It's a vault-looking stone thingy. And of course I break it open manually so that you can... There's tellings on the other side. And of course I'm gonna make another... If I ever do it again, tilling storage, but I can't because roads. Roads are just that important. And well, that's the first time it actually did it today. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm a road builder now. I build roads and I mine, and I make stone houses, and I'm basically like a mason. That's basically what I am in this game now. But I don't do any food stuff, so I have to buy food from other people. Now, the reason I made that decision, and I don't really like that decision, because other people are really garbage at food prices. You see, to make food, it takes very little calories for you to make food. But you have to wait a little bit, and then, you know, farm food grows. Now, every farmer wants a brick house today. They don't want a brick house tomorrow. They don't want their stone house tomorrow. And yet my stones are really cheap. Everything I am doing is really cheap. And if they give me their food at a fair price, they're gonna get really cheap stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll be cheap, but it won't really be cheap for them to make themselves. In fact, they won't be able to make it themselves, or it'll be really inefficient for them if they do. The only thing is they're not using that because too many people have these services, say. And somebody else also went roads, but the only thing is they're building roads where they want to build roads. So, here's my plan. This is my first little road that passes in front of my shop. And I'm gonna need campfire beams and I'm going to buy them at the same price for the same quantity. And the reason why it's this cheap is because that's actually how cheap it is for the person who actually farms the stuff. They just have to wait a little bit, and they're not patient. And I had to be patient so I can get skill points to, so, since I'm not making my own food, I have to buy the overpriced food. Meaning that I have to use more calories to eat now than I had to before. And because of that, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to make everything I do more efficient. Or food. Even though the foods market's really been crappy since the get-go, and a few people have done food, but the same people who've done food have done a very bad job at maintaining their status as a, like, I should have went chef first, most likely, because I would have had a lot more skill points. And as you can see, my house's material is still tier 1, and I haven't even had the ability to furnish all my rooms. I couldn't furnish my rooms because nobody's selling furniture, and the people who are selling furniture are doing it at a ridiculous price. And I guess that's because people are only going to buy it once. But the thing is, the material cost isn't even that much. So people buy it once, and you know, maybe you can get a good deal with other people. Maybe if you give them furniture, they'll give you a reputation or something. See? Like, there's ways you could do it, but nobody wants to do it that way. So because of this, I had to pick up this skill here. Mining. And I'm going to max it. And the reason I'm going to max it is because it's I use far too much calories to mine the stone that I need to buy food with. So I have to reduce the number of calories that it takes me. And I have to upgrade to a more efficient pickaxe. Now, people aren't very cheap on well, actually, now they are. So let me show you the economy. Right over here. Ironing, there's over 265 in stock. at Jaden's store. And Jaden buys stone. He buys stone for 2 each. It takes about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stones, 8. So about 2 stones per iron ingot. And that's a fair price. See what I'm saying? He actually gave a fair price for iron. But at the same time, he made it impossible for me to get inside the market for iron. So he also buys food. And he buys a lot of carcasses as well. So I guess he makes food. Let's see. He has all these beets. But nobody... I don't have campfire cooking anymore, so I can't do anything with them. However, they're actually pretty cheap now, because before they wouldn't have seemed so cheap. Now they do. I guess he lowered his prices because nobody bought them. And that's Jaden. Jaden, I guess he gets everything he wants or something. But so he lowered his prices down to something reasonable, and that's good. But what's not good is that I still have to. Now I have mining efficiency. So I did that. I had to do that. Because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to afford food. Unless I could make the food myself, which I couldn't anymore because I got rid of that skill. So I can reconsolidate my skill points effectively. And then I realized I don't have any roads. And this is the biggest issue, is that I don't have roads, so I can't travel around, and neither can anyone else to get what they want. And a lot of people have been traveling by foot. From what I've seen, you don't have to do that, but they're doing it. And I nearly gain about 2 skill points per an hour because of the boiled shoots and the beans. Now, one thing I really wish I didn't get rid of was the campfire cooking skill. And that's because now Jaden's stuff is actually a very good price. Which it should be for the campfire cooked food as well. But it's not, it's more expensive. And the reason why is because nobody has campfire cooking efficiency. But if they max efficiency for each regular tomato, sometimes they can get more than 1 tomato. They can get 2, because efficiency really increases the amount, or decreases the cost, the materials. So right here is where I plan to start building my road more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the road across the ocean. And I'm probably going to go further than what I wanted to go. Right now, my road, whenever I finish all the materials I've got queued up, will probably reach from where I am to about right at this spot. Right there. And then I'll have to queue up another one so I can get it further. And I'll probably have to do it about 5 times total. So what am I doing 5 times total? In 5 times, it's taking 5 hours for each station to complete its task. 5 hours to complete a task. And that's, let's start doing some math here, alright? So, 5 times 5 is about, it's gonna take 25 hours total time, to finish enough of these to make a stone road all the way from where I was standing to where I needed to be, where the settlement that everybody's at is. But it's gonna also take me a fair amount of time that if I wanted to make a stone road over here. So that's probably about 7 total. So to actually complete my task, 35 hours. So that's 35 hours of waiting for roads to be built. But the reason why, it's actually faster than it would have been had I had one single rainwater table. Because I have 3 rainwater tables, it's that cheap in time. In reality, it would take 105 hours for a single station to handle it itself in terms of time. So to lower the cost of the time, I lowered I made more railway tables, and I was gonna make even more. I was gonna make 6 total, but then I was like, I think 3 is good enough. And which brings me to my neighbor. My neighbor cut down a tree in the middle of nowhere. Just in the middle of nowhere. It was actually surrounded by a farm. And I don't know exactly where the tree was, but it wasn't around here. It was somewhere else on the map. And it was like over here somewhere. And right over there is actually a lot of farmland and a bridge that leads across the water. It's a bridge that is not really efficient for wagons, but it is efficient for engine wagons to go across. If you have an engine wagon, the road leads to a dead-end area with trees. And I guess that's the guy just wanted to do that. It doesn't lead to settlements. It doesn't lead to any other place. It seems like good infrastructure, but nobody's gonna be intelligent enough to actually put dirt around the bridge and start building a farm out in the middle of the water, which I think was the idea. So there it is. You can see. If you put dirt on the sides, it'll make it a wetland. And the wetlands are very good for certain types of vegetation and things like that. So we're just gonna go for a little cruise across this bridge. I just want to state this. It would be freaking awesome to be like right in the middle of the actual ocean on something like this. And you look this way and off in the distance you can't see anything off in the distance. But that way you can't see anything either, just how big it is. And there's nothing around. That's pretty cool. The perfect place to put fish traps, which is probably what this guy did, because nobody's capitalizing on his road he made here. And this road's not a real road, by the way. It's actually just regular material. And what that means is that a wagon will go over it about 100% efficiently, and that's okay. But being more efficient really matters, because wagons, when you drag them, they drain your calories. And so if I wanted to go from across this bridge, I'm gonna end up spending a lot more calories than if this bridge was actually made of what it needs to be made of. And it's bad enough people are expensive on the food. So anyhow, I'm gonna take a quick break, a little early in the video. Sorry about that, and I'll be right back. And it got dark pretty fast in the game, but I'm right back. And now, okay, so as you can see, it leads to these trees. And what I'm guessing is that you're using this so that they can farm trees. But to their own standards, of course. Because when they saw somebody chopping a tree in the middle of nowhere, the tree fell over. And when the tree fell over, it just so happened to be surrounded by their farm fields, where there's other plants that were growing. And so it cost somebody more time. The only problem is, the tree that was chopped wasn't chopped on their property. It was chopped just outside their property. They don't own this bridge, for example, even though they built it. However, it is pseudo-owned. So if I try to destroy this bridge, that would be like griefing, like trolling, or like, that's how the community would see it. And the admin doesn't tolerate that in the server, so there was a tree around here, and they just decided to chop it, and it fell over and landed on this currently unused beet farm, and that's what he's going to plant, apparently. And he's going to plant quite a bit, and I guess that's the idea, is to lower the price of food. And I really hope so, because I've been complaining about it the whole time. The price of food should have been lower from the beginning, but people wanted to profit. That's what they said. They said, I need to profit, and the reality is they didn't necessarily need to profit. So, here's what happens whenever you actually, how do I put this? Hoard all the money in the economy, or in this case commodities, because you have absolute rule or monopoly on it. You can afford to make all this stuff. You can make your house like that, with stockpiles outside all over the place. And then another house down the street that belongs to your friend, I guess, and their house looks the same, and you got a mill on there, so it's obvious that you're a cook. You're not anything other than a cook, yet you managed to build all this. And this is like basically my house in terms of how much stone they probably used. Actually, they probably used a little bit less, but they used a lot of stone to build these walkways and these roads. And they're sharing roads and stuff like that, but the thing is, who gave them the stone? Now in this case, there's actually a guy who's doing stone, a mason of sorts, but he's not necessarily a mason entirely. He actually is also doing blacksmithing. And he's located somewhere, I don't know where he's at. But he's somewhere across this road. And this is the road everybody built. Not really everybody, just like one guy to connect everybody with. And he did a pretty good job. The only thing is, he's chosen to leave me out of the mix because my house is just too far away. And so, yeah, I'm out of the mix, and I have to build my own road now. The only thing is that, so this area here that you just saw, it's a whole economy. But the area that I'm building a bridge to is also a whole economy. So it's like two separate cities. So, by building a bridge to connect the two, that'll lower the price in both of them, and it'll also have people going back and forth between my property, see? And as they cross my property, maybe they'll stop at my store and actually do some business with me, which I'm hoping they'll do, give me something I want, like food, for example. And the best thing to buy when it comes to food is, of course, to be very careful and look at what people are selling. Because if you just buy whatever you want, it's not going to work out too well. Here's a hewn log house. I think I showed it before. Somebody built it. It was pretty big, and they've had it there the whole time. And it's still hewn log, so it kind of looks ugly. It wasn't too difficult for them to make, and it required a lot of deforestation. Trees are being regrown. There's no really big problems on the server as of this moment. And I marked an iron gold deposit, but I really don't need it anymore because I'm not going to be doing iron and gold, so anyhow, this contract board. Now, one of the things I gotta change on this contract board is that. So, I no longer do that service. However, price of items and road read first. So, I made these 3 contracts, and they're not really contracts. They're actually messages. And I could make them without paper, because the need for paper in this game is 0, yet paper milling exists in the game. So anyhow, in the read first it says, my term, or basically what this board's about. That way they'll read it first and they'll understand what the board's about. It's about putting contracts on here that you want me to fulfill. And then I put the prices of the items, or how I price everything. And so there you go. And the last one is available services. So right now I can store people's tailings if they want me to, or I could build a stone road. And of course I'm going to build a big stone road for free, basically between the 2 major hubs. But if anybody else that just so happens to be by themselves wants to, they can use this place, and I don't think they're going to. And that's the huge issue, is that if I would have started as a chef, I would have had a lot of skill points, and it would have been practical for me to do a lot of the things that I really would like to do. The most amount of skill points somebody can achieve on a server is about 80-ish per day, with food alone. Then with the house, it's about 130. So that's about 5 skill points per hour. And to put that in perspective, that's basically 4 hours, and you're gonna have more skill points than I'll have in a day from when I started the game. And so anyway, the way I have this interior of the house now is such that I could put a boiler in it if I wanted to, or whatever. Or not a boiler, a blast furnace, I think is what I meant. And I can mix all these up to whatever station I want. That way I can use it for whatever I need to use it for. And I know these are going to take a while. They're still processing their resources, and I've been making this video, and they're going to take longer to process those resources. And then while they're processing those resources, I'm going to have to mine and then place more roads. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So lately the server's been lagging a lot, and it's been blamed on a few stupid things, but nothing really honest, I would say. Just stuff to get people to have a harder time in the game. People have been blaming it on the maps. Yeah, I'm picking up stone just fine. My map open. Oh, haha. And so you can see the way this water looks. The water would actually spread out more if I dug it out more, but I'm not going to, and because if I do, what will happen is the most of the tailing storage, I believe, and that'll be a problem. So anyhow, my idea is 3 stations are working constantly. They each have a separate queue of soil. And I'm going to fulfill each queue 1 station at a time, because each station has so long of a buffer to wait. And so our friend Jaden's online. And Jaden is the host of the server. And then he has another friend he made the king of the server, Kenny. And Kenny's okay, except they can go from okay to not so okay really fast, depending on what's going on. And so they didn't ban my neighbor, they just gave him a negative reputation. And what that means is that, and they also complained that they had a negative reputation. And so as you can see, I just mined 20 stone, and I lost very little of my calories. And that's because of my pickaxe and my efficiency. Now, one thing I would like a modern pickaxe. That'd be great. That way, I wouldn't have to worry about all this stuff. But I'm gonna leave that to the other people because they apparently want to carry everybody. After they decided to be selfish with the food. That way I can get this road up so that people can actually get some traffic. And if I get traffic, then I can actually sell stuff. I'm gonna really have to get rid of my charred meat though eventually, because the charred meat's very heavy to carry, while all the other forms of food are not heavy to carry, but have the same amount of calories in them. So charred meat's actually not efficient to go around carrying. It's better to carry around like salads and stuff and vegetable soup. And in fact, some of the best stuff in the game is the crimson salad. Oh, jeez. So I guess I don't really need this coal anymore. But you can see things get done pretty quick now, and the reason why isn't because roads, for me anyway, it's because I was just on my stuff, and so that's why I got done with things. I would have had more done actually. It would have looked a lot nicer, maybe been a lot bigger. I might have been able to plan for better stuff, but I couldn't because I didn't foresee how much greed the people who were cooking were gonna have. And so I should really, next time whenever I start playing in a server, I'm gonna pick up farming. 4, 5. And so we have a currency now being minted. The only thing is, how is the currency going to be distributed? So the people who've been hoarding gold for a while, and there's been quite a few people hoarding gold, especially that Kenny guy. But then again, he's the leader of the world in the game, and he's also going to set ridiculous tax rates. Dang it, I was trying not to break a rock. And so we're almost done already with our... It was faster than I thought, and we used a lot less energy than I thought. We haven't really had to eat, except for a while ago when I was messing off in the video. But basically, we're already almost done with our first station that is still going to take 5 hours to complete what it's doing. And as you can see, the server is now actually lagging. That's been funny. And I bet you anything this guy's gonna exchange gold bars at a store for gold coins. That way he can hoard gold bars. No, I'm not gonna give this guy ideas, because who knows what he'll do. I mean, he's not bad or anything, but he's not necessarily the most cherished person in town. I'd have preferred to host himself. But right around this time, right when he makes the... Right when the Mint's made it, it's about the time when, if they're gonna initiate the Fourth Reich, that's when it's gonna happen on the server. So we've actually done quite a bit of mining without having to eat, and that's great because that's exactly why. That's why I switched efficiency, and that's the way it has to be. Because if it's not, then what's going to happen is I'm going to get ripped off by a farmer, and in fact, I'm still getting ripped off by a farmer. I had to use skill points, basically waste them because of a farmer. Let's go ahead and eat some of these shoots. Chrono credits. Under the wire we go. But you can really get the feel for how our society is being actually held back by these people who being held back by usury, people who charge too much for things like food, or people who pricing of everything, and nobody can afford anything. And who really makes it possible to do that is the guy who normally mints the currency, because but of course in this case it's the people who are in control of the food. They're purposely overcharging because they don't have they want our stone and stuff, but they don't want to buy it at a fair price. They want us to give them a lot of stone, but it's harder to get your hands on the stone whenever you have to have food to get the stone in the first place. So it ends up leaving you yourself with no room to make enough stone for everybody if you're the only guy making stone, or a few people. Like, there's one farmer per like freaking mason and smith on this server, so basically the one-for-one trade-off isn't, you know, you gotta rip the stone mason off that bad that everybody has to specialize in it to if I was using a stone pickaxe, it would actually, I'd have to continue to repair it with stone really fast. It's a overall, let's see, iron to repair. Iron's gonna cost me about not that much really in stone, and so but the stone I would constantly have to repair it over and over, and efficient. It's more efficient, it seems. And it also costs me less calories overall, so that's really where I break my efficiency barrier. And the two things that will passively cost us a little bit more calories is the fact that I'm running, and the other fact that I have to go underwater for a few seconds to get to my mining location. And I'd also like to say that I really don't entirely regret the choice to make it efficient for myself to mine stone like this. However, I do regret the fact that I had to be efficient to make stone like this because the people who wanted to farm food chose purposely to make it more expensive to have food on purpose. I mean, think about how that would affect in real life. It would force people to have to specialize in being blacksmiths and stuff like that. That's something that requires a lot of energy, and you have to be efficient at. And if you're not efficient, then you're gonna have trouble. You're gonna have trouble eating, you're gonna have trouble functioning properly. While this guy's sitting on his ass, sitting on some food. Jeez, man. And nobody seemed to have found our mine yet under the ground. I don't think I wanted to put that stuff there. And so at nighttime, when you come down here, this is what it looks like. Nice and cozy. But there's deadly tailings. The heck? But yeah, there's deadly tailings on the other side of this wall. And so this guy named Falcon here, he keeps joining and leaving and joining. He's actually got me a little worried, but luckily somebody found out that he was a shitbag already. Because he started talking to me as if I had a problem. And in reality, what he was doing is he was making it difficult for me to communicate with him. And by breaking the communication that I have between other people, he effectively makes it impossible for me to communicate with others in such a manner that I can't get anything I want. I mean, I already can't get anything I want. Just sabotage me because they can, and they can get away with it, like little monkeys in the force that decide to beat the crap out of another monkey to death for no reason whatsoever. It's basically what it's like. But then he said something to somebody else, and somebody else called him out for being a shitlip. And once that happened, he just has kept his mouth shut all day. But what would have happened if I was put in a negative reputation is that from there, and then you get punished by a system of opinions. Opinions that aren't even the valid opinion of the person. They're just the sheep. They just follow everybody's what everybody says. And we're eventually going to run out of shoots. Once we run out of shoots, we're going to stop being as efficient in generating skill points. And that's going to be trash. Because we really need skill points. This game's really good at teaching people how to be violent against each other without violence. How to be extremely passive-aggressive and sabotage each other without laying a hand on each other. And so that means I have to quit the game. And restart it. probably what's been happening to those other people that keep leaving and coming back. One thing I'm really hoping I reduced my pitch, because I overmade pitch. I think I put a video up about it too. I was accidentally made, because of how efficient I was, 1,000 pitch, like 1,250 pitch, from just 80 stones that I turned to sand, and then pitch. How much pitch I've actually used from the pitch that I had. But if I wanted to, I could actually get that pitch going again, because I'm gonna need more of it whenever I make the roads longer. And it's gonna take 5 hours anyway for it to be finished. Keep in mind, I'm at max efficiency for how long it takes to build the roads. It's gonna take 5 hours at max efficiency to build a 250 length 4 wide road. This is what a stockpile roads looks like that are made of stone. And of course I need to use these stockpiles because they're gonna fill up, and once they fill up they're gonna have like a back flow kind of thing. And they're just gonna stay at the station because the station doesn't have anywhere to put them. And when we start placing them, I guess the station will replace the ones it took pretty much instantly. I made a boo-boo, of course. And in this case, the boo-boo is that I left the stone under the ground. So while we're doing this, these guys, they have a Discord channel. And they all talk to each other in the Discord channel. And sometimes I join in and talk to them. The thing is, we're not going to get any of that new currency stuff just yet. Jeez, I make that really bright. And we get another boo-boo. We lost a stone under the ground. And we set our stockpile so that we have one stockpile that never has anything grabbed automatically by any station. And the reason why is because sometimes we need extras for repairing our tools and things of that nature. So there's a chest I've never seen before. I'm gonna check it out. And then after that, we're gonna switch our currency that we accept to the new currency and change our values. Oh, jeez, what's this? And this is basically somebody's trash. And they just put it on a chest and put it out in the open. Hey, you want my junk? That's because the game developers have yet to put something in the game to get rid of stuff like a big furnace that burns everything and pollutes when it does. Let's go ahead and finish our last 2 loads. Our last 2 anyway for that station that we're doing. And then we'll see how much time that last station has anyway before we get started, because it might have so much time left before I could do anything that I can just It's a shame they don't have any animations for the station, like the wheel starts spinning or something. I'm gonna make my mind look a little aesthetic, I guess, by breaking the rocks in a specific pattern. Yeah, we don't have any time left. We're gonna have to get our stone put in there so that we can keep going. So the pitch that we used actually was in such a high quantity that it made up most of the building stuff before we even needed to start gathering stone. Luckily, there's still bison on the server, but actually, there's not too many. Probably like I see a lot less now, and I guess that's because they killed a lot, and that number probably is going to go to 0. And the reason it's going to go to 0 is because the people who have food are purposely overpricing their food and using it for manipulation purposes. So. The situation's not actually too complicated in real life, but it becomes complicated because people make it complicated on purpose to distract people. But essentially, if you're gonna overprice food, like, let's look at the cost of fast food, and let's look at the cost of regular food. I can buy a good meal for about an hour's worth of work a day. And that's if I use like fast food or some expensive fast food and just like eat a whole bunch in real life. But I won't deny that in that hour, the amount of work I do is possibly a lot less than the amount of work that was done by the farmer who farmed this stuff to make the food and the people who put together the ingredients. They might have machines and stuff that they need to maintain, but the machines are so efficient that the vast quantity of people that they use to maintain it are just completely over the actual amount that they'll need in terms of how much money they're going to get anyway for how much they charge for their food. But I mean, they wouldn't gain anything. The actual value of the food today probably comes from the workers who work inside the fast food restaurant, because they gotta get paid by the hour themselves, and that's really where the money's blowing around at the most. The chain probably are cheap. Well, you gotta pay people as much as you gotta pay people. Of course, the food's gonna be worth a lot more. Yeah, the only problem is, I bet you anything, if they got rid of all the workers and automated everything, the price would still be high, and it would probably even get higher. Now, a lot of people don't believe that until it's too late, and it happens, but that's what's gonna happen. And then you gotta look at China to see it for yourself. I'm not really sure the deal on these Wainwright tables, like how they used them in real life, if these were actually a thing or what. More stone flew up into space. Gotta go catch our space rocks. We'll just get these two for now. The actual stones on the other side of the river. And that's a very tiny number of stone that I left out. I never leave out more than 4 stone lying around, because it's lags the server if you do that. I only leave about 3 or 4, so that way it'll be and here we go, we got somebody. hope he doesn't see us. I think what he might have saw is the house, if his computer's good enough. And the project I'm doing. Gosh, what the heck is this? Little magnetic rock there. I had no idea this would be this efficient. If I would have reduced my ability to mine, but no matter how efficient it became, I still can't stop saying this, but the food in the server got overpriced really bad. There's about 5 chefs too, and they didn't compete with each other because they were so isolated because there was no roads. So they all just kept their prices the same. In real life, people don't compete with each other that much. But they profit enough to keep their goods and to at least make money. Which is a good thing, I guess. I remember working at a Valero. When I was like really young, I guess. And it brought in like the amount of money that it profited a day was probably like maybe 1,500, maybe, or 750, depending on what season it was. But at least 750 was a say. Keep in mind that's profit. That's after the bills, after everything. 750. But they were understaffed. And I was like, why is it that I'm working in a kitchen and it's just so difficult? Because there's nobody else here doing anything, and we're so understaffed. And turns out the food was cheap there, that's for sure. Because it was like a chef thingy next to the cash register. And it turned out they were understaffed because nobody wanted to work there. Not because they, not because they were trying to make us suffer and just have all money for themselves, that they were literally understaffed. Everything could have been sweet. Everything could have been nice. Everything could have been synchronized and harmony, and there would never been a moment where you get that gut feeling where it's like, oh geez, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna keep going on? You know, I just don't want to go any further. I just want to stop here. And you get that feeling like every day because there's too much of a workload on one person. And I'm not talking about bagging stuff either for people and bringing up the cash register. I'm talking about actually being in the chef part and working as a cook. It was pretty intense because you had to cook for like what 3 people should be cooking at the same time. There's only one person cooking. And it was actually in a location where people really used that Valero a lot for food, like a whole bunch, not even like it wasn't like a small load of people. Right around time for food and stuff like that. And then I'd go down the street to a 7-Eleven after work. Funny enough, because I could have got a drink from where I was, but it just didn't feel right. I don't know why. And I would look at the worker there while he was doing stuff and think to myself just how lazy he seemed compared to what we were doing over down the street. And I wasn't judging him because he was at a different store. I was judging him because he had it like he had no purpose when he moved. He just moved really slow, and I didn't rush him either or complain to him or anything like that. As a person, he seemed alright, but when it came to just getting dirty, I guess he's not gonna do that. Ugh, jeez, what a horrible job, man. Pretty much every job I end up getting seems to be horrible, and then somebody gets a job where they just got it made in the shade and they're lazy and do whatever they want. And then you got the people who own their own businesses and actually profit. And that's something that's good. Trade jobs. A lot of people think trade jobs can go extinct, but I think not. And they say to automation. But maybe automotive mechanics, yes, like mechanical technicians. But really, that's very passive aggressive because people do overprice the technician industry, like or prices when it comes to fixing people's cars. Something that costs them like $40 or $50 ends up getting upmarked in price by 500%, depending on what it is, of course. Like if it's a brake job or whatever, maybe it'll cost like freaking $500. And they won't even be good brakes. And so we're almost done with our stone here. And now you can look at this. And the reason it's letting us collect the roads it's building now are because it doesn't have a place to put them in a stockpile. We're gonna go ahead and finish this. And it took a lot less food than I thought it was gonna take. And then after that, I should consider where I'm going to get food at in this game now, because I need the cooked food to maintain my character skill points. I still have enough food that lasts a little bit longer doing stuff like this. There's our final trip. Actually, it's not our final trip. When we actually get done with this mine here that we're making, the funny thing is this mine will probably have to be it'll have to be widened more, but we'll probably widen in that direction. And the reason why is because the tailing storages are going to be placed here if we make more tailing storages. But generally, this is a... What would happen is if once we got towards the end of our mission to make all the stone roads, this would be about 10 times longer. Not too much bigger than that, but just a tiny bit because of the pitch we have to make from sand that we'll be making from stone. Which, by the way, in real life, you don't necessarily make sand from stone, because sand is actually a silicon oxide or something like that, I forgot. And so here we go. Boom. And our pickaxe is completely repaired. And that's the only time we had to repair it. Now we can get started on this little part. No! So every time I mess up, it's gonna cost a lot. So we're gonna try not to mess up. What's going on with this? So I don't even know if we can place stone rows as fast as they're being made. Actually, you know what? We should have made a wagon. That's what we should have made. But the reason is because we could put all of this inside of a wagon and roll it down. And at first, you see me now, it's not gonna be too big of a deal to move a wagon back and forth a small distance like this. But this distance is going to become very long. And what would really suck, really bad, is whenever they update this game and to add boats, and you can carry a whole bunch of stuff in a boat. That would defeat the whole purpose of my my bridge road. In fact, my bridge road will become inefficient for everybody because it'd be blocking the boats. I'd have to build a overbridge or overpass or underpass or whatever it is for boats. Now we gotta check where this guy's claiming land. He's claiming land out that way. There's only one problem I have with that, and that's the fact that I really hope he doesn't claim land in the direction of my road, which is in the middle of the water. I should really take a break from this damn game and play Space Station 13 or something. continue notice just the moment he claimed property. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a problem with getting up on the stone road because of the sound. So we're gonna have to test this out in a second to make sure we can actually get back up on the stone road. If somebody lost their wagon on this road and it fell off, all their stuff would be lost. Okay, so we can get on the stone road when it's not above sand directly and we're standing on it. That's good to know. No, dang it, that costs calories to repair. So anyway, when they're dragging their wagon down the road, they're gonna get to somewhere back there. And they're gonna see this, and they're gonna be like, huh. And then they're gonna get closer, and they're gonna see more, and boom. And it's like, welcome to the North Continent. Where prices are upmarked by way too much. So the amount that we made in stone roads, by the way, is about 900. That's how many stone roads we made. So yeah. There should be, as long as no all roads are accounted for, it should be even in the end. Done to is if I wanted to, I could actually place some dirt next to the stone roads without actually I would have to place something under the dirt, so that would be a problem. But other than that, I could place some dirt and make a magic farm in the middle of the ocean. However, it would be considered a wetland, and I'm pretty sure tomatoes don't grow in wetland very well. But rice does. Actually showing all enough for now. I'd love to make a longer video, but yeah, this is gonna take a long time. Thank you for watching and have a good day.